Anila Premadana Karuna Pracho Hena Prabhu Kota Kela Acharya Thakur Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatana Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatana Kahadasa Raghunata Patita Pavan Kaha Mora Bhatta Juga Kaha Kaviraj Eka Kale Kota Gela Gora Nataraj Pashane Kotiba Mata Annale Pashiva Goranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Kele Pavo Se Saba Sangira Sange Ye Koilo Vilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Nara Tamadas Jayanila Premadana Karuna Pracho Hena Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivasa Acharya gone? Where am I Srup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatana? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where am I Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. This is a disappearance of Srila Sanatana Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And it is also, they say Guru Purnima, right? Srila Prabhupada explained that this Guru Purnima, it is a day in which the impersonalists, they give special respect and worship to the spiritual master, or the spiritual masters. And the particular day in which Gaudiya Vaishnavas do that is Vyasa Puja, or the appearance day of the spiritual master, in which, the spiritual master is representative of Vyasadeva. But today's verse, specifically the purport, deals with Guru Tattva, so we will take the opportunity to discuss something about that. Before that, we'll just hear a little bit about Srila Sanatana Goswami. Can you bring me the Bhagavatam, please? Ananda Vrindavan. All right, Srila Sanatana Goswami appeared in 1488, 5 years before Srila Rupa Goswami. Sanatana had his 2 brothers, Rupa and Anupama. Sanatana and his 2 brothers, Rupa and Anupama, were always absorbed in Bhava Bhakti from early childhood. Remembering Vrindavan, they named the forest in which they played after Vraja's 12 forests, Talavan, Madhuvan, Kamyavan, Mahavan. They called their favorite bathing ponds Radha Kund and Shama Kund. In his youth, Srila Sanatana dreamt that a beautiful Brahmin boy gave him a Srimad Bhagavatam. Feeling ecstatic, he awoke, but seeing neither the boy nor the Bhagavatam, he felt sad. When Sanatana began his puja that morning, however, Krishna himself, disguised as a beautiful Brahmin boy, came and said, "Take this Srimad Bhagavatam from me. Always study it, and you will attain perfection." In Krishna Lila Stava, Srila Sanatana Goswami glorifies the Srimad Bhagavatam. O Holy Bhagavat, you are my only company, my only friend, and my guru. You are my greatest treasure and my personal savior. You are the emblem of the highest fortune and the very form of ecstasy. I offer my obeisances unto you. Sanatana Goswami has a number of prayers glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam, very beautiful. You could find those in the Krishna Lila Stava. Forced to submit to the ruling Muslim government, Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatana Goswami became ministers and lived at Ramakeli. But their real engagement was teaching Shastras, which they learned from Vidyavachaspati, brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Pandits and Brahmins from all over India came to study under the 2 brothers. Srila Rupa and Sanatana were acclaimed as the crest jewel of the Gaudiya Vaishnava scholars. After the Lord visited Ramakeli and freed them, they renounced everything for Lord Gauranga's service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Sri Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis to move to Vrindavan and perform 4 services. Does anyone remember what those 4 services? One of them, you could say? Okay, one is excavate holy places, okay. Write books, okay. Build temples, okay. And the last one? It says propagate the rules of devotional life. Uncover Krishna's pastimes, install deities, and arrange for the puja, complete bhakti scriptures, compile bhakti scriptures, propagate the rules of devotional life. Yeah, so entering Lord Chaitanya's service, they resolutely gave up power, riches, and position to live in Vrindavan as humble beggars absorbed in bhajan. One cannot properly perform Krishna bhajan until one renounces all attachments, both internally and externally, and adopts a life of simplicity and humility. Okay. They traveled extensively through Vrajmandala, discovering many places of pastimes of Radha Madhava. Having no fixed residence, they would catch a few winks of sleep. No more than 1.5 hours per day. Anyone try that recently? It's difficult, right? Under a tree or bush. So, Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatana Goswami spent all their time writing, discussing Krishna's pastimes, and chanting Krishna's holy names. To maintain himself, Sanatana would bake some wheat flour, roll it into a ball by adding a touch of Yamuna water, and drop it in smoldering coals to cook. He would offer this bhakti salt-free baked bread ball to his deity of Madan Mohan. Giving up all kinds of material enjoyment, the Goswamis accepted the poorest way of life as mendicants. They ate just enough to maintain their bodies. So yeah, Sanatana Goswami, he'd get some wheat flour, and as it's being described, to make a little ball, and some Yamuna water and no salt, and then he would offer it to his deity. Of course, it's explained that his deity spoke with him and asked him. He said, I mean, in essence, I appreciate this offering of yours, and thank you. But can you please add some salt at least? And then Sanatana Goswami said, "Well, okay, you're asking for salt now, but then after that, you're going to need rice and the sweets, and ask for a lot more." So he, for whatever reason, he just seemed to neglect that. This is pastimes, of course. But then some rich merchant was traveling on the Yamuna one day with a big boat, and it happened to be a big boat full of salt. So he got stuck there, and then in this way, the deity got his salt, right? And that, I believe Sanatana Goswami, there was some arrangement where he helped him get unstuck, and then from that, this rich merchant fellow, he donated so much money to help build the temple, the beautiful temple there in first temple in Vrindavan. So we had one brahmachari here. He would cook Raj Bhog, and then you would go to the back and you'd see these little wheat balls, some years ago. And I believe they had salt. They did have salt, but devotees were wondering, what is this? It's a little ball of wheat. And he said, well, just like Sanatana Goswami would offer this ball of wheat to the deities, I'm offering this to Radhagiri Dari. I think devotees didn't appreciate it that much, but of course, Yeah, Prabhupada makes a point so many times, and in our scripture it's made that the point is made so many times that we shouldn't imitate the behavior of a Mahabhagavat, great devotee, because yeah, just like they could do certain things we cannot do. Like Kali Das, which I'm not exactly sure why his name is Kali Das, it's a long A. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita is the devotee who would take all the remnants from all the Vaishnavas of Bengal, understanding that this would give him great spiritual advancement. But in the beginning of that description, because he meets Jadu Thakur and his wife, and then he gets the remnants and so on, but in the beginning of that description, there's a verse, and it says, in great jest, Kalidas would chant he would throw dice, in great jest, throw dice, and he would chant Hare Krishna while throwing dice. So then Prabhupada explains in the purport that we cannot imitate the behavior of a Mahabhagavat and think, okay, he's throwing dice, let me hit the casinos or something. You have to be careful. So we can't imitate Sanatana Goswami. Try to follow him though, some small way. The Radha Madan Mohan Mandir established by Sanatana Goswami was the first one opened in Vrindavan by the 6 Goswamis, described as the personal extension of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Sanatan is the ideal spiritual master because he gives one shelter at the lotus feet. Madan Mohan. The 3 Vrindavan deities, Madan Mohan, Govindaji, and Gopinath, are the life and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The deity of Madan Mohan has the specific quality of helping the neophyte devotees understand their eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Madan Mohan means Krishna, who is so indescribably beautiful that he even attracts Cupid, Kamadev. Sanatana Goswami is the Sambandha Acharya who gives us knowledge of our proper relationship with Krishna and his deity. Madan Mohan helps us overcome our attraction for material sense gratification, Cupid, and fix our minds on devotional service. So it says that Krishna is the bewilderer of Cupid. So it's very important because this material world is said to be Durga Dham. It is the abode of Durga, and it's like a prison house. And the prisoners are shackled by gross and subtle forms of sex desire. In other words, they're all charmed by, or enchanted or bewildered by Cupid. And especially in the modern day, it's, you look left, you look right, you look up, you look down. Wherever you look, it's like an ocean of sensuality. People do not see any issue with it. They like it, they appreciate it, they're into it. And after all, what can you expect? Because if they don't have God in their lives in a real, tangible way, then what else is there? So worshiping Krishna, it attracts us away from that, from the mundane world. All right, so we're finishing up here. Srila Sanatana Goswami spent 43 years wandering from village to village in Vrindavan. The Vrajvasis would affectionately care for him, treating him like their father. With patience and concern, he listened to their problems. Then he would please all the villagers by his preaching and practical advice on everything from increasing crop yields to solving family quarrels. So as Bajranarayan Swami likes to say, he was the unofficial mayor of Vrindavan. Of course, transcendental. Renouncing all worldly pleasures, Sanatana Goswami was humble, detached, always absorbed in study. Mahaprabhu often said that Sanatana Goswami was his favorite devotee. As an ocean of love and mercy, Sanatana excelled all other devotees in his compassion toward the suffering souls. In his last years, he left his beloved deity Madan Mohan with Krishna Das Brahmachari, his disciple. He did bhajan on the banks of Manasi Ganga, next to Chakaleshwar Mahadev at Govardhan. Daily he walked the 24-mile parikrama, original longer route of Govardhan Hill. Although he was 65 years old, he kept his daily vow of offering. Does anyone remember how many obeisances he offered to Govardhan Hill? 1,008, yes. And to any Vaishnav whom he met. So Prabhupada would say he's offering obeisances, 1,008 times. Prabhupada would say, very good exercise. People think that the Vaishnavas weren't exercising, but you try getting up, offering obeisances 1,000 times. It's good. Understanding the difficulty of his pure devotee, Sri Madan Mohan appeared one day and said, Baba, you're too old. Don't take so much trouble to walk around Govardhan Hill every day. Sanatana replied, this is one of the daily activities of my bhajan. I must maintain it. Since you are old, said Madan Mohan, you may now give up this vow. Starting to walk again, Sanatana replied, I will never give up my religious principles. So he's walking around Govardhan Hill every day. And it's a long it's a long journey. I don't know, something like 7 hours, 5 hours, 7. 5 hours, but he was following the long route. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a long journey. But then he was getting older, and then his deity came to him and said, you're getting old, so you should just give this up. You don't have to do this anymore. And then Sanatana Goswami was saying that I'll never give up my religious principles. Which is an important point, because as practitioners of Krishna consciousness, we should also feel a similar way and be convinced that we'll never give up our principles. Sanatana Goswami's firm determination to complete his daily devotional vow pleased Krishna. But in the loving dealings between the Lord and his pure devotee, Krishna's desire to please his devotee often defeats the devotee's desire to please him. So out of loving compassion for his devotee, Krishna stood on a large flat stone. So Krishna stood on a Govardhan Shila, taken from Giriraj. He placed his irresistible flute. He played his irresistible flute. The Govardhan Shila melted in ecstasy, capturing the impression of Krishna's lotus feet. So he stood on this Govardhan Shila and played his flute, and then this Govardhan Shila melted in ecstasy, and his footprint was there. And then he gave this to Sanatana Goswami. Presenting this to Sanatana, Krishna said, if you circumambulate this Shila every day, it will be the same as going around Govardhan Hill every day. You will keep your vow intact and not compromise your religious principles. Seeing that Giriraj himself had given the Shila, Sanatana Goswami gratefully accepted. One can still see the Govardhan Shila in the Radha Damodar temple. So we also have our Govardhan Shila here. So we can circumambulate, go around the block. Unfortunately, you could go around this parking lot, but yeah, there's a possibility of it, but. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said in Jivadharma, Sanatana Goswami was empowered to explain the esoteric aspects of Krishna's manifest and unmanifest leelas. Sanatana Goswami made a significant literary contribution to the Gaudiya Sampradaya with his Hari Bhakti Vilas, Brihad Bhagavatam Rita, and Brihad Vaishnav Toshini. So the famous amongst those are the Brihad Bhagavatam Rita, a very beautiful book which describes the journey of one devotee, Gopakumar, meeting his guru in this world and traveling the different lokas, the different planets, going all the way up to the spiritual world and meeting Krishna. So it's a very beautiful book. 3 volumes, translated by a number of devotees, but one devotee, Gopi Paranadana Prabhu. We have our BBT version. In the form of Labanga Manjari, Sanatana Goswami serves Srimati Vishaka Saki and Radha Madhava's Nitya Nukunja Leela. His samadhi is behind the Radha Mohan temple. So, all right. Anyone else would like to say something about Sanatana Goswami? We need the next version. The chapter has ended. Yeah, this only goes to 15.
They mentioned wrong in the index 16. Today's source is
Oh, it's a typo.
Anyways, you could say.
Yeah, I fondly remember that Sanatana Goswami used to sometimes remind Rupa Goswami to show some mercy to Jiva Goswami.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Yes. You want to tell that one?
Yeah, so please correct me. I, as far as I remember, there was a big scholar who comes to Vrindavan.
Yes.
And Rupa Goswamis and other Goswamis, they are not interested in dealing with them.
Yeah, this is it.
Right? But he is hell-bent on trying to prove everybody that he is a topmost scholar and he wants others to certify him. And so he, as usual, he comes to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami asking them to come in a debate, and then based on the result they would come to know who is the best. But then Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they didn't want to waste their time with him, so they said no, we'll write that you are the best and where is the certificate. So then this scholar, he's a proud guy, he keeps showing off that to everyone else. And when Jiva Goswami looks at that, he's like, he says that you are a fool. You know, that both of them are, beyond your imagination. If you want, I am their student and I can have a debate with you and defeat you. And so he defeats him. So, but then Rupa Goswami comes to know that Jiva Goswami is indulging in these activities, although his intention was good. But Rupa Goswami says that in Vrindavan we should not be engaging in this kind of so-called mundane stuff. So he asks him to leave Vrindavan. And I think some time passes and Sanatana Goswami comes to Rupa Goswami and says that, oh, dear Rupa, you are not applying a particular principle well of the particular principle of Lord Chaitanya well. So he says that, yes, please let me know what it is. Then he explains that Jiva, show some mercy to Jiva. So
yeah, that's it. So he was invited back to Vrindavan. Jiva Goswami, right? Nice, thank you. All right, so we're studying a new chapter. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is 8th canto, chapter 8th canto, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations, chapter 17. The Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. So I'll read the chapter summary and then we could read text 1. As explained in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being very pleased by the Payavrata ceremony performed by Aditi, appeared before her in full opulence. At her request, the Lord had agreed to become her son. After Aditi performed the Payavrata ceremony for 12 continuous days, the Lord, who was certainly very pleased with her, appeared before her with 4 hands and dressed in yellow garments. As soon as Aditi saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead present before her, she immediately got up, and with great ecstatic love for the Lord, she fell to the ground to offer respectful obeisances. Aditi's throat was choked because of ecstatic feelings, and her entire body trembled with devotion. Although she wanted to offer suitable prayers to the Lord, she could not do anything, and thus she remained silent for some time. Then, feeling solace, observing the beauty of the Lord, she offered her prayers. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supersoul of all living entities, was very pleased with her, and he agreed to become her son by incarnating as a plenary expansion. He was already pleased by Kashyapa Muni's austerities, and thus he agreed to become their son and maintain the demigods. After giving his word of honor to this effect, the Lord disappeared. Following the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Aditi engaged in the service of Kashyapa Muni, who could see by samadhi that the Lord was within him, and who thus placed his semen in the womb of Aditi. Lord Brahma, who is known as Hiranyagarbha, understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had entered Aditi's womb. Thus he offered prayers to the Lord. Okay, please repeat after me. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Ukta Saditi Rajan Swabratra Kashyapena Vai Manu Atishtad Vratam Idam Dvadashaham Atandrita Shri Shukuvacha Ityukta Saditi Rajan Sabar, how do you say that one? Bartra. Oh yeah, okay. I'm complicating it. So Bartra Kashyapena Vai Anvatishtad Vritam Idam Dadashaham Atandrita Shri Shukuvacha Ityukta Saditi Rajan Swabartra Kashyapena Vai Anvatishtad Vritam Idam Badashaham Atandrita. Okay, please chant. Any online reciters? Okay, please repeat after me. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Ukta, being advised, Sa, that lady, Aditi, Aditi, Rajan, O king, Subhartra, by her husband, Kashyapena, Kashyapa Muni. Vai, indeed. Anu, similarly. Atishtat, executed. Vratamidam, this. Payavrata, excuse me. This Payavrata ritualistic ceremony. Dasha aham, for 12 days. Atendrita, without any laziness. Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, O king, after Aditi was thus advised by her husband, Kashyapa Muni, she strictly followed his instructions without laziness, and in this way performed the Payavrata ritualistic ceremony. Purport. For advancement in anything, especially in spiritual life, one must strictly follow the bona fide instructions of the teacher. Aditi did this. She strictly followed the instructions of her husband and guru, as confirmed in the Vedic injunctions. Yasya Devi para bhakti yata Devi tata guru. One should have complete faith in the guru who helps the disciple make progress in spiritual life. As soon as the disciple thinks independently, not caring for the instructions of the spiritual master, he is a failure. Yasya prasadan nakatikatopi. Aditi very strictly followed the instructions of her husband and spiritual master, and thus she was successful. Oh my God, Timidindasya, Galanjana Shalakaya, Chakshudramadatamena, Tasmai Shigravena Mahamakam Kritvachalam, Pangamanga, Tegrim, Kripatamam, Bande Shigranditaram, Vanchakap, the Visha, Kripasan Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebio, Vaishnavebio, Ramanama, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhanitananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. All right, so for extra Burfi points amongst the younger devotees, who can recite the Sanskrit for this verse that was quoted in the purport? Yes, Yadeve Para Bhaktir. Anyone could recite that one? Anyone has memorized that one? Yes, Ramavati? Yes, okay. Jai. Now, who could give the English for that, a rough translation? Ram. Yes, one who has faith in both the Guru and Krishna. For that person, the knowledge of the revealed scripture, it is revealed to them within their heart, right? All the conclusions. Srila Prabhupada, one time when he was asked the devotees, what is the most important verse in all the scripture, devotees started reciting different things. Some are Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yovat, or Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati, so on. So many different verses. But then Srila Prabhupada, he quoted this verse, that this is the most important verse. That for one who has complete faith in the Guru and Krishna, then all the conclusions of the scriptures are revealed to that person. Is it just Guru or is it Krishna? I think it's Guru and Krishna, both, yeah. So it is very important to have faith in the spiritual master, and practically speaking, to have faith means we follow. If I tell you something, if I give you some advice, and if you don't have faith in me, then you won't take that advice very seriously, and you won't do it. Of course, in Kali Yuga, they say that everyone is giving free advice. It means, they're not charging anything. Everybody gives advice. But the spiritual master, he gives us advice, he gives us instructions, and we're meant to take those seriously, which means we follow them. We do what's advised. And practically speaking, that means we have faith. And of course, nowadays, in this particular time, it is a faithless age in many ways. People have lost faith for good reasons in scientists and religionists, professors, and so on. Because, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, that modern society is just comprises of two classes, the cheaters and the cheated. So naturally, those who have been cheated for so long, they start to realize, I've been cheated all this time. And who are the persons who are cheating me? The cheaters. So they lose faith. But as the saying in India goes, just because you burned your mouth on a hot cup of milk in your childhood doesn't mean you need to, blow out even on a cup of yogurt, to cool it down. So in other words, just because we've had bad experience or we've been burned, if you want to use that terminology in different ways, doesn't mean that the real thing doesn't exist. So real teachers do exist, and we should have faith in them based on their repeating the words of Krishna, based on their following the words of Krishna, and based on them displaying the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, and so on. There's many reasons we should have faith in the spiritual master, but those are some. As Rupa Goswami says, one particular qualification that the guru must have is Vacho Vegam, Manaso Kuroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Madhura Pasta Vegam, Etan Vegam Yoga Shaheta Dira, Sarvam Epimam Pritivim Shashisha, that one who is able to control the tongue, belly, genitals, mind, anger, speech, all of these different urges. A sober person, Dhira, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So in this way, there's a number of different qualifications that the spiritual master should have, the teachers should have. And in looking at the example of Srila Prabhupada, he had great faith in his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said he only met him around 10 times, although they would have extended conversations in some of these meetings, not all the time. But he didn't have much physical association like many of his godbrothers did. They had very close physical association with him, many of the sannyasis and so on. But Srila Prabhupada, although he was instructed only a few times really by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, if you ever get money, print books. That was one of the instructions, which Srila Prabhupada expanded that with his transcendental intelligence. He established the BBT and inspired so many devotees to distribute books, and he's still inspiring them to distribute books. Also, you should go to the West. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur didn't exactly tell him, go to London or here and there. He said, go to the West. So Srila Prabhupada, through his transcendental intelligence, he thought, okay, let me go to America. And as he joked one time, he said that, well, my godbrothers went to London, so I was thinking, let me go somewhere new. So if I fail, at least I fell in a new place. So print books, go to the West. And these were some of the main instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But he took those to heart. Reading the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I think it's 241, Vyavasyatmaka Buddhir Ekeha Kudananda. Those who are on this path are resolute in their determination, and their attention, or their focus is one. Those who are not, their intelligence is many branched. So in other words, he thought that, let me be very focused in this mission. of spreading Krishna consciousness. Whether I die, whether I live, whether they have to go to hell, whether they have to go to heaven, whether everything explodes, whether the whole material world explodes, whatever happens, I have to, whether I am in samsara, or whether I'm out, whether I'm liberated, whatever the particular case is, let me serve my spiritual master. Follow his instructions. Let me make his instructions my life and soul. So we need such faith, actually, if we want to be successful. And we become faithful by associating with persons who have that faith. Srila Prabhupada had such great faith, and by associating with him, we also get faith by associating with advanced devotees. We see them and we think, yes, I should have faith in them. It's an organic type of faith. It's not like a faith that, the guru, okay, now I'm a guru, and then he goes and meets with his buddy, and it's like, hey, I'm a guru, and nobody's recognizing this. Do you have any advice for me? How to get recognized that I'm a guru now? But it's organic, means through the spiritual master's Krishna consciousness, through their spiritual realization, people naturally respect them. So that's another thing we associate with advanced devotees, and will naturally have faith. And so on. There's a number of ways we could increase and develop that faith, by hearing from the spiritual master, reading. So important. So Aditi, she followed the instructions of her husband and her guru, and in this way she was successful. She took it very seriously, and as Srila Prabhupada translates, atindrita, without any laziness. So we have this. It's a battle, because we're in the material world. There's the modes of material nature. The mind says, just chant later, or read later, or whatever. Be Krishna conscious later. Follow these instructions later of the guru. But it might be passion. It might be ignorance. Ignorance means laziness. So we have to constantly stand up to these particular thoughts, or these urges, or these desires. We can't surrender to them. Aditi, she didn't surrender, and therefore she was successful. She didn't surrender to these other laziness or whatever it was, but she surrendered to the instructions of the guru, and in this way she was successful. So let's see. Let's see here. All right, so we'll stop there. Does anybody have any question or comment? Ananda Vrindavan? Das?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for your nice class. Can you just expand some more on Guru Tattva, and how is it different than the Guru, like the person Guru and Guru Tattva? Can you just tell, like when we say like Chakshudan, Janme Janme Guru se. So I had this question, that is it Guru Tattva, or is it the same Guru, like the physical Guru?
Oh, so, yeah. Chakudan Dilo Jai Janme Janme Prabhu say, that life after life, you're my master, right? Well, because once Srila Prabhupada was asked about that, is the relationship between Vaishnavas eternal? And then Srila Prabhupada quoted this song by Narottam Das Thakur. So there's the eternal connection there. And when the spiritual master accepts the disciple, yes, we accept that to mean the eternal connection. Now, does that necessarily mean that the guru has to come back to deliver the disciple? You may be thinking, oh, geez, like the guru has to come back for every single disciple? Like, okay, he didn't make it, she didn't make it, and that's a lot of coming back, right? But it is understood, or it is, seen, like, for example, we have the case of Bilvamangala Thakur, who was a licentious person. He was, attached to a prostitute. Wasn't his wife. It was a prostitute. So essentially attached, clearly. And it explains that one day he went to go see her, as was his habit, and it was a stormy day, stormy night, and no boatman wanted to take him across the boat, so then he swam across. I mean, that's dangerous. I mean, try swimming in the Ganga or something. I mean, people die. So he's risking his life, actually, for sense gratification. So he's swimming across, and what was that? Yeah, it's a storm, raining, and then some versions, they say there's like a snake there, and he like grabbed the snake trying to climb up the wall, and then he like fell down, and he like hurt himself, and just like, oh yeah, there's also a version that's like dead body was floating across, and he latched onto the dead body. I mean, talk about determination, right? Determination and passion. I mean, he became a great Vaishnava later, but I mean, he really wanted to meet her, Not to anyways, Hare Krishna. Not to discuss Bhagavatam, Hare Krishna. But so he made it there, and then he knocked on the door, and she opened the door. Chintamani, her name was. Beautiful, beautiful young girl opened the door, and then she was surprised. She said, I think his name was Leela Sukha at that point. But she said, oh, you're so surprised. She wasn't surprised in general to see him because that was his habit, but surprised that in such a stormy night, and he's all cut up and soaking wet, and that she was surprised he took such a difficulty to see her, and then, being a pious prostitute, she said, if you had as much determination or as much devotion for Krishna as you have for me, she said, you'd be, even just a small percentage, you'd be a pure devotee of Krishna. You'd be a pure lover of God. And then Bilvamangala, him also being pious, I mean, he had some background. He got inspired, and he thought, yes, and then let me go to Vrindavan. And he took this long journey to Vrindavan. Then on the way to Vrindavan, so it's amazing because he had such determination. But then going to Vrindavan, there was some more obstacles. He became lustfully attracted to one woman, and he's following her, and then she went to the home, and then she told this husband, her husband, she said, there's this person following me, and I don't know, somehow or other, it's not exactly clear the dynamics of these relationships, but somehow or other it was agreed that Bilvamangala Thakur would be with this woman. So then he's there, and then she walks in, and then he's thinking to himself, he's like, I'm making my way to Vrindavan, and now I'm lusting over this woman. So he said, oh, my dear lady, can you please give me the women, they wear these hairpin in the back. She said, "Can you please give me your hairpin?" And she said, "Okay." She gave him the hairpin. And then he did something like very radical. I mean, Jesus Christ talks about it in the Bible. So he's just like removed his eyes, just like, did his own surgery on himself. Now, of course, this isn't recommended, so Hare Krishna. But the principle's there, that to do something radical, the principle's there. So he did that, and then he made his way to Vrindavan, and then he became a great Vaishnava there. He says he would get the darshan of Krishna, and he wrote all these wonderful books, like Krishna Karnamrita, and that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself would relish these books, very advanced devotee. So I'm bringing this up because it is explained and is understood that that the guru of Bilvamangala Thakur spoke through that prostitute, Chintamani. So, there's some case. So there's a number of ways in which the guru can speak through others. Of course, this is one, the guru speaking through her, but there's so many ways the guru could speak to others, and there's so many ways that the guru could send different representatives. That means Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, whoever, different representatives to help save that soul. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's that individual soul. Yeah, here, you could. Oh, yeah, Prabhupada said, "Don't make me come back again." Yes, that's true.
There's an instant where Prabhupada said to some of it, "Don't make me come back again because we're not following the principles."
Yes. All right, any other?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Balaram Prabhu.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful class again. Please accept my humble
Sure.
obeisances. I have a question about the pastime you're telling about the devotee who paid 1,008 dandavats.
Yes.
Is that found in Chaitanya Charitamrita, or do you know where I can read that?
It's a good question. I'm reading this Samadhi's book, and it's being explained there. He doesn't give a reference for that, but I would think that this would be found in Chaitanya Charitamrita, or it would be found in, like, there's this book, what is it called? Bhakti. It's about Lord Chaitanya's and his associates. Yeah, what is it? Bhakti Ratnakar. Yeah, that book. That also has some. But yeah, I think if you look in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a thing, I'm not sure, maybe you're familiar with it, maybe not, I don't know, but there's this online search you could do on Vedabase. Vedabase.com, it has all of Srila Prabhupada's books. And if you go to Vedabase, you could go to Chaitanya Charitamrita and you could search, for these things.
Keywords. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I just found also, just for devotees, just for the knowledge, I don't know, maybe you're aware of this, but I just recently found out about, I think it's called Bhaktivedanta Vedic Library. It's actually a very wonderful website, and what it is it's this devotee, and he's reading he's nicely recorded all of Srila Prabhupada's books, Bhagavatam, all of them. So you could listen to audio recordings, Srila Prabhupada's books. It's that devotee, what's his name, Damodar? Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Yeah, I had a question.
Okay, you could ask.
Oh, Haribol.
Haribol.
Haribol, Prabhu.
Thank you, Balaram. So my question is that Prabhupada, I often see Cupid brought up in a lot of purports, and Prabhupada talks about Cupid a lot, but Cupid's, I think he's like a Greek goddess or god, and I'm just wondering
what's up with the Greek?
What is that connection?
What's up with the Greek?
I don't hear anything about any other Greek gods.
Yeah, you
just
don't hear about
Cupid.
Zeus or...
Yeah, none of them. But I always hear Prabhupada talking
Well,
about Cupid.
it seems that Cupid is, I think...
More like a...
Yeah, Vedic figure. He does exist.
Oh, okay.
So the Greeks might be borrowing from the Vedic.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Triveda Prabhu said he's even got a bow. So...
Okay.
Yeah, so he
All
does
right.
exist in the Vedic understanding of things, but the Greeks might be borrowing from the Vedic idea.
Maybe. Okay.
Or maybe it's just, there's many cultures, they have similarities, so might just be a kind of similarity.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
All right, Atish Girdai, Hare Krishna.